Welcome to the video about supply and demand. In this video, you'll learn the basic concept of supply and demand, how to find a linear supply or demand function, and how to find the equilibrium point. With supply and demand, the idea is that the quantity that's demanded by consumers depends on the price, and the quantity that will be supplied by a manufacturer also depends on the price. Our price is our independent variable. It's like our x, and our quantity is our dependent variable like our y. With demand, when the price is low, then consumers are willing to buy quite a few, so the demand is high. When the price is high, consumers aren't willing to pay that much, and so the demand is quite low. For supply, when the price is low, the manufacturer isn't all that interested in producing many, and so the supply is low. And when the price is high, then the manufacturer thinks, well, I could probably make a lot of money, so I'll go ahead and supply quite a few, and so the supply is high. When we have our demand is above our supply function, then we have what's called a shortage. And when we have our supply is above our demand function, then we have a surplus. When these two functions meet up, when the supply meets up with the demand, that's called the equilibrium point. Now, typically, demand functions are going to be decreasing and supply functions are going to be increasing. The functions that I have drawn here are linear, so they're straight lines, but they don't necessarily need to be. Let's look at an example. The demand for your college newspaper is 2,000 copies each week if the paper is given away free of charge, and drops to 1,000 copies each week if the charge is 10 cents per copy. However, the university is prepared to supply only 600 copies per week free of charge, but will supply 1,400 copies per week at a price of 20 cents per copy. Write the associated linear supply and demand functions. Okay, so our two functions are going to be supply and demand. They're both linear, and so we're thinking they're going to look like y equals mx plus b. But since we're using the variables p and q instead of x and y, the equation's going to look like q equals mp plus b. The ordered pairs, they look like p comma q because p is like our x and q is like our y. The next thing we need to do is think about what are our units going to be for our price. Now we could choose to make our price be in terms of dollars, or it could be in terms of cents. So for instance, a value of p could be 20 cents, or it could be $0.20. We have to choose which way we want to write those. Now, when you're doing your homework in WebAssign, they'll typically tell you how they have defined the price. So watch out for that, because if you don't have the correct units, you aren't using the variables like they're suggesting that you do, then your answer will be wrong. So you have to be really careful. Whenever we're trying to find the equation of a line, we have three basic steps. First, we have to find the points that we're given. Second, we need to use those points to find the slope. And finally, we need to use the slope and one of the points to find the y-intercept. So first we find the ordered pairs, the p and the q. Then we use those to find the m. And finally, we use the m and one of the points to find the value of our b. Let's reread our problem and see if we can figure out what ordered pairs we're given. So it says in this first sentence, the demand for your college newspaper is 2,000 copies each week if the paper is given away free of charge, and drops to 1,000 copies each week if the charge is 10 cents per copy. So this first pair of numbers, we have 2,000 copies each week and free of charge. So our value of p is going to be 0 and our value of q is going to be 2,000. So our ordered pair looks like 0, 2,000. In the second half of the sentence, it says that the demand drops to 1,000 copies each week if the charge is 10 cents per copy. So our price is 10 and our demand, our Q, is 1,000. Now notice that the order that they give you these numbers in the sentence is exactly opposite how they're written in the ordered pair. So sometimes it's opposite, sometimes it's not. You have to be careful to watch for that. Next, we need to find our slope. We're going to use the formula m equals change in y over change in x. So we're going to have 1,000 minus 2,000 over 10 minus 0. That gives us negative 1,000 over 10, which equals negative 100. So our slope is negative 100. Next, we're going to use our slope and our point to come up with the actual equation. So we already know that we just found that our slope is negative 100, so our equation is going to look like negative 100p plus. Now, next we have to find the value of b. So remember, the b is your y-intercept, and if you look at the 2 points that were given, one of our points actually is our y-intercept, because when your x-coordinate is 0 and your y-coordinate is a number, that's your y-intercept. We actually don't need to do any work to find the equation. We can just write it down. Q equals negative 100p plus 2,000. Now I'm going to scroll back up here to our statement of our problem, and I want you to pause the video and see if you can go through this process for the supply function. So you need to first find the 2 points that are given, second, use those 2 points to find the slope, and third, write the equation. So go ahead and pause the video. Hopefully you found the 2 points were 0, 600 and 20, 1400. You put those into the slope formula and found that the slope was 40, and the equation was Q equals 40p plus 600. Let's move on to part B. So in part B, they ask us, at what price should the college newspaper be sold so that there is neither a surplus nor a shortage of papers? So this is just another way of asking us where the equilibrium point is. So we're looking for where supply equals demand. Our supply function was Q equals 40p plus 600, and our demand function was negative 100p plus 2,000. What we can do, since we're trying to make supply equals demand, is set these two equations equal to each other. So we have 40p plus 600 equals negative 100p plus 2,000. If we add 100p to both sides, we're going to have 140p plus 600 equals 2,000. We're trying to solve for p here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to subtract 600 from both sides. So that gives us 140p equals 1,400. We've almost solved for p now. P is going to equal 1,400 over 140, which is 10. Our answer is there is neither a surplus nor a shortage when the price is 10 cents per copy.